Hello Exiles, Redlord here, and I'm finally back with the new build. This time it took me a while, but as always there was so much testing needed to be done. I was constantly changing the skill trees, changing the skill, trying to feel out the build and figure out what to actually do here. But yeah, I finally settled on something and I love it. And it's pretty much Bonestorm build, basically for single target. And for clearing, I'm currently using Essence Drain along with the OP Scepter, the Palm of the Dreamer. I know it's expensive. I bought mine for 75D, but there are a couple options that you can do if you don't want to do Palm of the Dreamer. However, about the build, I joined the meta. I'm now a meta slave officially, and I went for Deadeye. However, I'm gonna be a Deadeye without Tailwind. Never heard of that, alright? But yeah, I'm gonna be a Deadeye without Tailwind, and basically the reason why I went Deadeye on this one was because of the endless munition nodes that gives you skills fire and additional projectile. For Bonestorm, additional projectile straight up means it has maximum of 20 projectiles. And if you get more projectiles, like for example the endless munitions, skills fire and additional projectile, that doesn't mean that you're gonna get to 21 projectiles now. You're gonna be just, for each tick while channeling, you're gonna generate one additional projectile instead of the previous amount. So each single additional projectile just pretty much gives you faster channeling and get easier time getting to the maximum, and not like actual damage in terms of giving you additional projectiles. But that doesn't matter because this skill fires 20 projectiles anyways, and with the setup that I've got going on here, I'm pretty much hitting with like 80% of the projectiles at all times, which is pretty darn good if you ask me. So we're getting just massive overlap for single target, and for clearing it's just getting carried by running around and pressing Essence Drain. Because why Essence Drain? First of all, I wanted to keep it projectile even for the clearing. Previously, I was playing around, as I said in the testing, I was playing around with Bone Cage, I was playing around with Drain Contagion and all of that, and even different skills like Arc and Frost Darts or whatever the new ice skill is called. So I just wanted to keep the projectile theme, and since I'm using the bone skills, ideally I would use like a physical projectile, but unfortunately Exsanguinate's still not in the game. I think that has been data mined like even during the launch or something, that there's gonna be a wand that has implicit skill Exsanguinate, as like we've got a Reaping Staff or Reap Staff this league. There's gonna be an Exsanguinate wand, and I assume that Exsanguinate's gonna be a projectile, something similar to PoE1, right? But yeah, unfortunately not right now. So I decided to do like chaos and bone theme, basically keep it the dark ritualistic theme, and went for Essence Drain. And currently I'm pretty much using the Essence Drain only for like proccing the Palm of the Dreamer explosions, and that's just most of my clear. However, the other options I was talking about, you can just easily go Essence Drain Contagion if that's your thing, or if you don't have currency. You can even do the thing that Lolcohol did. He was using, in his build, he was using Reap and then proccing Overkill explosions from Trampletoe. You could also go like Bone Cage Trampletoe, but as I said, I didn't really want to go Bone Cage. Even though it's a bone skill or physical skill, it fits the builds, like it fits the theme of the build. It's not a projectile, so I decided to go with Essence Drain. And why the Palm of the Dreamer? Honestly, I had a Palm of the Dreamer at the beginning of the build, and the thing is, Palm of the Dreamer, it felt honestly to me, it felt a bit weird. Like it felt weird is the best word to like say, because in early maps, when monsters don't have enough HP and all of that, it didn't really deal that much damage. Like, it was good when there was a big pack, but in early maps with the nerf they did to pack size and all of that, it didn't really feel good. And I decided that I'm gonna switch to Essence Drain Contagion back, because that's how I was leveling. Pretty much I was just leveling with ED Contagion. And yeah, I switched back to ED Contagion, and it felt great. ED Contagion, I love it. I've never played ED Contagion in PoE1, and this is my first time playing it in PoE2, and it feels awesome. However, once I reached tier 16 maps, I started having incredible performance issues, and yeah, I said it in my previous videos, for me the performance this league is terrible. I'm constantly playing on low frames, and at least with builds that like freeze and shatter stuff, it's understandable, right? Because there's so many like these ice particles going on when you freeze and shatter whole packs, like with my previous build with the Herald of Ice Warrior. But this time I thought that I'm gonna finally have some frames by just playing ED Contagion. I thought I'm gonna have frames and I'm gonna have a good time playing on more FPS than normally. Yeah, I didn't. It was terrible. Once I started doing some pack size map, like for XP farming in higher tiers, and I was doing ED Contagion, I entered Breach with this massive pack size map. My frames were just gone. I was constantly playing on like 20 frames during these breaches, 17, 20, 14 frames, something like that. And that was terrible. I just died so many times just due to freaking not seeing anything because I had so bad frames. So I decided, even though I sold my Palm of the Dreamer, I decided that I'm gonna buy it again and try it again in higher tier maps with these juicy packed breaches. And yeah, I decided to buy Palm of the Dreamer again and bought it, tried it in tier 16 maps, and suddenly my frames went from the, like, I would say maximum of 20 frames with ED Contagion. With just ED and Palm of the Dreamer, I went to roughly around 45 frames, 50 frames on average during breaches. And yeah, Palm of the Dreamer, it is kind of sad, but that you gotta buy this expensive item, but I do think that it's due to Palm of the Dreamer. Actually, the explosion itself from the scepter doesn't like cost you a lot of frames, because if you just take it in slow motion and see the explosion, there's not really that many like particles or graphic stuff on there. It's just simple explosion. And yeah, it doesn't have to do anything with ice or fire or anything like that. That just tanks your frames. However, the other part is it actually removes the corpses. It removes the corpses, and that means not just benefit of removing on-death effects of those corpses, of those enemies, but also it entirely removes them when they die. And that's huge for frames, because now all of these corpses that would normally lay on the ground or get shattered or burn with ignite or whatever, these disappear and they don't tank your frames. And I figured that this is what's actually giving me so many frames compared to just ED Contagion or yeah, freezing or whatever, because there's actually not anything that remaining that just tanks your frames, like these burning dead bodies of monsters or whatever. So yeah, I'm not gonna go back to ED Contagion just because this gives me more frames, and yeah, if you've got currency, buy it. For me, it's a no-brainer. I love it. And yeah, the clear with it, impact maps, massive. Absolutely love it. Satisfying, and just infinite chain of explosions. Again. But this time, it's not actually solved by me sitting here theory crafting and thinking, how can I make infinite explosions works? It's just solved by throwing currency at build. Easy. Alright. That's enough talking, I would say. Let's jump into the build. Alright, we're here, and first of all, let me please disable my companion, because all of the annoying ice explosion sounds. So, the build. No boner rat. Yeah, I'm a Deadeye that doesn't have a bow, and I'm using bone skills, so no boner rat, of course. Alright, that's the name. Currently level 93. As I was saying in the gameplay showcase, I started doing pack size maps, and as soon as I started, maybe I have some more. No, I don't actually. As soon as I started doing those pack size maps, and with precursors tablet that just give you increased experience, my experience skyrocketed, and I went to level 93 so fast and so easy. And with the clear that I have, just pressing ED, just ED. I mean, it's phenomenal. And yeah, how the build works. So I shall start off with the skill gems. And let's go chronologically here. So let's first of all cover the impurity. I have no use for it. I have no use for the chaos res because I'm CI. I'm immune to chaos, so this doesn't have an effect. But with all of these palm of something scepters, the purity it gives you, it doesn't consume spirit if you socket spirit support gems into it. So I'm currently using mysticism for spell damage, clarity, warm-blooded, and strong-hearted. And yeah, these just don't consume any spirit, as you can see. 81, still 81. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right here, and this is active only on the main weapon set. For single target, it's disabled, by the way. Yeah, then for single target, I'm using Bonestorm, currently level 19, and yeah, base level 19, and just with Zenith, considered casting, Ricochet, Blindside, and Diala's Desire. And there's a couple of important and interesting interactions here. Zenith, first of all. I don't know what's going on with Zenith and Bonestorm interaction, but I assume that the Zenith recoups 25% of the mana cost recouped as mana. Recoup occurs over 9 seconds, but when you use it with Zenith, when you use it with Bonestorm, sorry, even if I channel Bonestorm, I'm at maximum mana all the time, unless I hold it for incredible amounts of times, and I think that amount of time is actually 8 seconds. But as you can see, I think when the recoup falls off, that's when you start actually draining your mana. And I think what's happening here, it's giving you on just the initial click, I believe it's giving you recoup as if you would hold it for 8 seconds. So immediately you get insane amounts of recoup. And yeah, basically if you equip Zenith too into Bonestorm, that's all your mana fixed. You don't need to invest into mana. As far as I am concerned, I didn't need to invest into mana whatsoever on this build for Bonestorm. I just used Zenith too, and the mana's fixed. Just like that. So I don't know if it's a bug or if it's intentional. I mean, if it's a bug, yeah, finally a bug that is in my favor, right? First time this league, I think. So yeah, Zenith, I don't know if it's a bug or if it's intentional, but that's how it works with Bonestorm, and it feels good. You don't have to worry about mana. Then the other interesting thing is Ricochet, and that's the whole idea I went around with this build, because originally this build wasn't supposed to be Deadeye Bonestorm. It was supposed to be Arc Gemling Legionnaire, just chaining 5 arcs off of walls and chaining back to the target. But it turns out that that doesn't work. If you've got 5 projectiles with arc and all of these projectiles chain off of a wall back to the target, only 1 projectile does the damage, and the other 2 projectiles chain to the enemy, but they fly straight through like they would miss. So yeah, that's what happens, and it's due to, I believe, like some skills being restricted to hit with only 1 projectile, even if you give it more at like per cast. So yeah, basically chaining off of wall with arc and additional projectiles, no extra damage, unfortunately. But yeah, it is what it is. I changed my decision and went with Deadeye. After a couple hours of testing different projectile skills, I figured out that Bonestorm actually works with Ricochet, and you can hit with all of the 20 projectiles on Bonestorm. And that is insane because you get 50% chance to chain off of terrain right here with the support, and the rest, I get more here, I get 20% chance here, and if you would really like to, you can path here to get another 10%. That would put you to 90, I believe, and then all you need to do is just use 2 emeralds to get to 100%, and you would all the time hit with all the projectiles. Currently I have 80%, because I don't think that last 20% is worth the trade-off. It would pretty much be like 20% more damage, right? But I don't think it's actually worth the trade-off for me in my situation here. And yeah, other than that, Diala's Desire, I just didn't know what to really slot in, so I went for Diala's Desire. And yeah, the mana cost reduction doesn't matter. Only the quality and +1 supports. Quality gives it 5% more cast speed, and that means we're gonna get faster to our maximum bone projectiles. And as you can see, it's pretty fast, and I have mediocre gear still. But yeah, this is the Bonestorm. Now for the Essence Drain setup, I'm using Essence Drain with Considered Casting, Extraction, Chain, Deliberation, and Siren's Temper. And yeah, Deliberation, I suppose I should talk about. Yeah, it gives you more movement speed penalty while using supported skills, but if you have a lot of cast speed and you don't hold down the button, this is what happens when I hold down the button of Essence Drain. But this is what happens when I run around and just click. This is me just clicking, and this is me holding the button. So if you're gonna play this build and play with Deliberation, I would recommend just running around and clicking, actually manually clicking and not holding your cast button. And yeah, this is due to cast speed. Basically, you're only gonna get slowed while casting, and if your cast speed is high enough, you're barely gonna get slowed and barely gonna feel the difference of this support gem, so it's straight up 20% more damage. And yeah, other than that, Extraction, it's free 35% more damage as extra chaos because I'm chaos inoculation, so sacrifice 10% life on use doesn't really have an effect on me, and as you can see, it's still increasing my damage. And yeah, I'm not scaling purely like the damage over time portion on Essence Drain. I'm trying to scale like both the hit and the damage over time. So currently the tooltip is 11k, and here the tooltip is like 13k, and yeah, scaling like both at the same time. Then Contagion, that's what I was using before. I'm not using it anymore. I kept it low level because it just serves the spreading purpose, right? I'm not using Contagion anymore since I have the Palm of the Dreamer, but it was linked with Magnified Area, Intense Agony, Chaos Mastery, Rapid Casting, and Swift Affliction too. Yeah, now we're getting into the interesting stuff. Companion and Ravenous Swarm, and I want to specifically talk about these two together. Because first of all, let's cover the obvious stuff about Companion. Haste Aura, Companion, you click it, you got Haste Aura, you got increased attack speed and cast speed. Attack? Only attack speed? Really? Yeah, whatever. You're basically increased speed and increased movement speed. Haste Aura is obvious. Then the other effect on mine is Hasted, and I specifically wanted Hasted because Bonestorm has an Impale portion. Impaled is inflicted by Bonestorm, and Bonestorm Impale basically needs you to attack to consume those impales. So with the amount of damage I'm doing with Bonestorm, I inflict with some pretty huge impales. And the thing is, your Companion and Ravenous Swarm, they both attack. As you can see, Ravenous Swarm also attacks and poisons enemies. So I'm using basically Rapid Attacks 3 and Rapid Attacks 3 on both of my Ravenous Swarm and Companion, because now they're gonna attack fast, and especially the Companion, since he's hasted, he's gonna attack extra fast. And they're both going to consume the impales, and those impales, I promise you, when you have damage on your Bonestorm, they just get massive, especially if you're trying to scale like pure fizz damage on Bonestorm as I am right here. So yeah, I mean, this is huge. I love it. I love the interaction. And sometimes what just happens is I cast one Bonestorm on a boss, and then the Ravenous Swarm and the companions just gonna finish it like a second after, because there's huge damage coming from the consuming the impales. And yet, I'm using Brutus Brain on my companion, so it doesn't deal damage. However, yet the companion itself isn't going to deal any like hit damage of its own, but it still hits and it still consumes those impales. The impale damage dealt isn't considered as damage dealt by the minion. I suppose it's considered like damage dealt by me, even though the companion procs it, and that means the impale damage dealt is like goes through even with Brutus Brain on. And yeah, other than that, I'm using Killing Strike because it still hits, it still can do Killing Strike even if it doesn't do damage. I'm having Blind because Blindside support on my Bonestorm. And yeah, so my companion is blinding for me, maiming for me, culling for me, and consuming impels, and is immortal, and is giving me a bunch of these damage buffs on the skill tree. Damage increases and reductions apply to also apply to you. And yeah, pretty much the same story on Ravenous Swarm. I got Prolonged Duration, Magnified Area, Chaos Mastery, Blind, and Rapid Attacks again to just give it faster consumption of those impales. Then lastly, I'm using Convalescence along with Prolonged Duration, Rapid Casting, Second Wind, and Cooldown Recovery. And lastly, this time Blasphemy with Temp Chains, Focused Curse. Giving you less delay means the enemies get those curses applied to them quicker, even if you're using Blasphemy. Then Magnified Area, Heightened Curse, and Slow Potency, and this combination means that pretty much like with the current level of Temp Chains and Blasphemy, pretty much everything is slowed down by roughly 60% in terms of normal enemies, and that's what I really wanted. I'm using it only for clearing purposes, and this is extremely helpful during breaches, because all the melee enemies in breaches rushing at you are gonna be slowed by roughly 50-60%. Huge. Alright, that's the skill gems. Let's now jump into the items. And yeah, I'm using some pretty good ones, I would say. And the thing is, these ones were not even that expensive. This is my single target one. +5 spell skills, physical spell skills, just cast speed, crit damage, spell damage, and damage is extra lightning. This actually enables me to get shock into the build. That's why I specifically wanted damage as extra lightning instead of stuff like physical damage. So yeah, this is my single target one, and of course I've got the expensive rune in it for +1 level, worth 20 divines by the way for +1 level. I would say quite a min-maxy upgrade, but I just wanted to do it. Then Focus, pretty much the same story, all spell skills, but this time we're getting physical spell damage, crit chance, crit multi, and just some energy shield on top of it. And this one I believe I bought it like this for, I don't know, 5 divines I think, and this is just straight up all tier 2 all across, and I don't know, 5D for item like this seems impressive to me. Yeah. Then the helmet, body armor, gloves, and boots are gear that I bought on level 62 pretty much when I reached maps, and yeah, it's just really mediocre at best. It's not a good gear. Everything was worth, I believe, under a divine, and yeah, just as I said, pretty mediocre gear. I need to switch it ASAP. And even though I have this really mediocre gear, I'm currently having almost 8k energy shield with my focus, and during mapping it's 7.5k. It's incredible how much energy shield you can get so easily. So yeah, it is what it is. I'm gonna definitely hit 10k on this build, I think. Yep. Then other than that, it's just like crit chance wherever you can, crit multi wherever you can, and just some increased energy shield recharge rate, faster start of energy shield recharge. And other than that, it's simple energy shield and resists. Rings, pretty much the same story on this build. I've got rings with mana, I thought I'm gonna need mana. I don't really do need mana, so these are gonna be switched eventually. And yeah, I'm just gonna get fat resistance, fat rarity rings, maybe some mana to get it comfy, but yeah, not really much we can do on the rings here. So they're just gonna be rarity, maybe a little bit of mana, cast speed and resistances. And for amulet, I'm gonna of course upgrade this one too. Currently it's got +2 levels, some crit chance and increased maximum energy shield. And of course we're getting into the Palm of the Dreamer for our clearing setup. Yeah, just Palm of the Dreamer, equip it, you're gonna have a good time if you've got the currency, and you're gonna have a good frames, by the way. And then our clearing wand, I can't believe that items are so cheap. I just bought it without the damage as extra physical, and I bought it for, I believe, again, like 5 divines, as it is. I don't know, I didn't know that wands and all of that with such high plus levels and good stats all across the board are so cheap. So yeah, I bought it for 5 divines, then I annulled off the previous desecration and I added this as a desecration. This is guaranteed, this is I believe Oleman desecration, so easily guaranteed to have it for damage is extra physical, and it's just increasing the head portion of my essence drain to give me some better clear. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the wand. Other than that, some cast speed. And yeah, since I didn't know what to do with the belt slot, I had no idea what to do really. I just didn't bother. I bought a headhunter and I have some extra fun time during mapping just with blasting with headhunter. And yeah, even though it doesn't really give you that many stats, strength and dexterity actually extremely useful for this build. And why is it extremely useful? I'll tell you in the skill tree section right now. So first of all, I should cover I am a Deadeye. I went first off, I've got only 2 ascend, or yeah, basically did 2 trials. And yeah, didn't bother doing these 2, but yeah, next trials I'm gonna get Bullseye and Cold Shots and probably get Sniper's Mark and just consume it all the time apply critical weakness, and that's gonna top me, put me to, I believe, that 100% chance to crit with Bonestorm. Only important for single target, and the single target's already amazing. It's gonna get even better. So yeah, first of all, I decided to go with point blank because yeah, it is actually harder to stay ranged in terms of bosses, and I wanted this node pretty much only for bosses. So I decided to go with point blank, and the idea is you usually, for boss fights, you usually run in circles right around the boss anyways, right? Stay close to it. So yeah, I decided that I'm gonna go with point blank, and it is up to you. You can go with far shot and endless munitions. As I said again, you're gonna get really quick into the maximum of the Bonestorm stacks projectiles. So yeah, and the next 2 are gonna be Bullseye and Cold Shots. That's the Ascendancy. But yeah, the skill tree. Why I wanted to talk about it, why is strength actually important, and dexterity? Dexterity, of course, to get our requirements for dexterity gems, and to get our requirements for the companion. However, why is strength important on build like this? Since I don't have a problem with mana whatsoever, and while mapping, if I run out of mana because of spamming too much, I'm just gonna press a mana flask and that's it. But why is strength important? I have no use for intelligence, so I decided to spec into Heroic Tragedy with Verona. And what's that gonna do? It's gonna change a nearby keystone, or basically a keystone in the circle, is gonna change it into Black Scythe Training. And Black Scythe Training is massive, especially this league, I would say, on energy shield builds, or yeah, on intelligence builds, because they lowered all across the board all the requirements for gear and gems. So I'm gonna require like 157 intelligence for level 20 gem, and that's it. And the rest of the stats, since I don't need intelligence whatsoever, I can straight up put into strength and get increased energy shield. So this currently is giving me half of my strength worth of increased energy shield. So this is currently, what, 88% increased energy shield just for 1, 2, 3 points. And it's gonna get more once I get better gear with like proper attributes and proper stats. Kind of crazy, I think. Currently it's giving me, if you're wondering, currently it's giving me like 1500 energy shield in my build. So yeah, pretty darn strong, I would say. Yeah, other than that, utilizing weapon swap points, and I'm gonna make it just a bit easier, but typing some random nonsense here. And the red points are weapon set 1, clearing setup, and I'm scaling, of course, some chaos damage here since I'm using the essence drain. So, and I believe that these like small chaos damage nodes actually increase the damage of Palm of the Dreamer. I'm highly positive on this. I did some testing, and I am like 99% sure that it actually works this way. But yeah, so with these generic chaos damage nodes, we're actually, I believe, increasing the damage of the Dreaming Palm of the Dreamer, sorry, explosions. And not only that, we'll sort of double dipping, right? By increasing also the Essence Drain damage, because it's a chaos skill, it does a chaos damage, and we're increasing both the damage over time and the projectile itself, and giving it +1 level right here. And yeah, damage is extra, and some chaos damage nodes again. And other than that, that's all for damage I'm doing on weapon set 1. Other than that, I'm going for pretty much movement speed right here, movement speed right here, and more movement speed right here. And lastly, giving me reservation because I needed it to get all of my stuff. So yeah, but only for weapon set 1, by the way. And yeah, weapon set 2, the green points instead. These are all, it's a bit hard to see, but these are all weapon set 1, weapon set 1, weapon set 2, and pretty much scaling all the juicy crit stuff on weapon set 2 and the projectile wall chain on weapon set 2 also, because that's where I actually need it. So yeah, green weapon set 2 and red weapon set 1. In terms of armor break, I forgot to mention, in terms of armor break, cut to the bone anointment right here, cut to the bone. This fixes all your armor breakage, and yeah, 1 Bonestorm and the enemy is armor broken 100%. Other than that, what is like definitely important, if you're going CI, it's always important to get energy shield, like gives you stun threshold. So this is all I need pretty much. Gain additional stun threshold equal to 30% maximum energy shield. I took these nodes and I'm pretty much never getting stunned. And if I find the spare points, I'm gonna get these 2 also for ailments. And yeah, that's all the stun threshold I need, just from 3 points right here. And I feel like I'm never getting stunned. Alright, what else did I want to talk about? Yeah, the companion stuff. The companion stuff, as I said, lots of testing I was doing here, and I initially wanted to have the companion on only 1 weapon set, but I decided not to, so I'm incorporating these nodes not only for weapon set 1 or 2, but for both, and I'm having my companion whipped out all the time. So I'm getting all of these juicy damage nodes. Each one of these is basically 22% increased damage. So you've got 4 of these right here, that's 88% increased damage, and 4 more of these right here, another 88 increased damage, for 176 increased damage for just pretty much 8 or 9 points. And that's really good, I would say. Alright, I suppose that was the most of the important stuff on the skill tree. Let's just now cover the jewels real quick. So let's start off with the simple one, and that's Prism of Belief with +3 Bonestorms. Bought it for 15 divines, I believe. Just +3 levels to Bonestorm, that's it. Then I'm using, of course, From Nothing with the Radius of Vile Pact for these juicy movement speed nodes right here. I'm not actually sold on this build. I don't know if it's worth it that much. I could maybe just like make use of different jewel or get more damage or get the movement speed someplace else. But yeah, that's what I'm currently going for. It feels fine. The single target's fine already. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be replacing it, but it's highly optional. And then I'm using this juicy thread of hope right here, or sorry, control metamorphosis. Yeah, coming from PoE1. Believe it or not, I don't care about the chaos resistance, and I bought this perfect roll for 1 and all, or I'm not sure if it was 50x or 1 and all, but yeah, this is medium large ring, extremely powerful in this spot, I would say, extremely powerful, because you get conservative casting for mana efficiency and mana regen for the weapon set 1 where I need it. You get 50% increased chance to crit. You get freaking this for 3 movement speed and projectile damage and projectile speed. And you get these 2 juicy notes for crit damage and crit chance and intelligence and dexterity. And if you really want to, you can even get 53% increased chaos damage right here, but you're gonna bypass the downside. And if you're actually like a spear build or something, you can even use this to gain accuracy equal to intelligence. I mean, this is insane spot, and when I found this in Path of Building, I was just sure that this is gonna cost so much. Bought it for freaking 50x or 1 and all, whatever. Like, it's nothing. Really, really, really good controlled metamorphosis. And yeah, for the last 2 jewels, I already covered this one, but again, Heroic Tragedy Line of Verona, just for the Black Scythe training and nothing else. You can also get a notable changed into, I don't think I have one in the range, by the way, but you can also get notable change into projectiles have a chance to chain off of terrain, and that would be perfect. But unfortunately, the seed finding doesn't yet work in Path of Building, I believe. So, yeah, I didn't bother to and got only the keystone. And lastly, Megalomaniac. This is a really good one, I would say, because I'm anointing Shrapnel and Stand and Deliver. And Shrapnel, kind of obvious, I guess. 10% chance to chain off of additional time off of terrain. That's like 10% more damage. It's this node right here. And ideally, I would like to anoint or get Ricochet, but since this is the notable in the starting range of Mercenary, you cannot anoint this. I don't know if you knew, but yeah, you basically cannot anoint these starting notables in each class's starting location, which kinda sucks, especially for a node like this. But yeah, Shrapnel, and the other thing it's giving me, it's Stand and Deliver. It's this one. Since I'm already point blank, this is extremely powerful. 40% crit multi and 25% increased damage. Oh my god, is that good. And yeah, if you don't find this one, just get a different one. It doesn't really matter that much, but yeah, this combination is extremely powerful. And then again, for the anoint, I'm anointing Cut to the Bone. And yeah, that's the jewels. That's pretty much all I wanted to say. And yeah, so far so good. The build is extremely powerful. Today, as I said, I started blasting those pack size maps and I skyrocketed in levels like really quickly. It feels so good. And yeah, the performance, I'm finally like glad that I, after such a long time, basically the first build this league where I actually have some performance and where I have some visual clarity. It feels so good to finally play a build with visual clarity and like, yeah, a decent performance. But yeah, with this scepter, I really do have better performance than I had with anything else so far this league, and I love it. And with that said, thank you very much for watching, Exiles, and see you next time.